Welcome to Get Savvy, the podcast for people who want to claim back their time through the power of delegation, streamlining, and productivity. And boy, do we have a big topic that is basically the ultimate topic when it comes to those three things. And we are talking about AI today, which right now, it's April 2024. Things are just starting to explode in the AI market at the moment. There are thousands of tools and apps coming out at the moment to do with AI. And honestly, it can be really, really overwhelming.
Yes, it has been quite overwhelming learning about this in the last kind of 6 months. We've really gone deep. So we have intentionally embarked on learning everything that we can about kind of what's here already, testing out some tools and doing a lot of research, a lot of watching of videos. And we're also trying to figure out what's to come, because there are some exciting things that we want to share with you that are to come with AI.
We're currently on that bell curve and just really realizing how much is out there. And once you start looking, then you start realizing how much is already here and what is coming. And yeah, there are some really exciting things coming that are going to be really amazing for so many businesses.
Yeah. This efficiency in businesses is gonna, I think that is the biggest opportunity that businesses have, is so much efficiency.
Yeah.
With AI tools. Yeah. So we want to, in this episode, simplify AI and learning some terms to kind of get you up to speed with this.
Yeah, because everyone is going to have to get on board with this. It's one of those things, whether you like it or not, you can't just bury your head in the sand and pretend like it's not happening, because that's what everyone said about the first smartphones. And look where we are now with everyone having an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy or whatever you Samsung people use these days.
Yeah, it's like the invention of the internet, I feel. It's like, the invention of electricity. It changed everything for businesses, for how people lived, and AI is going to do the same. And it's kind of like, yeah, like you say, Teesh, it doesn't matter whether you like it or don't like it, or whether you think it's good or bad. It's here and it's happening, and there's going to be no escaping it, in my opinion.
And you don't want to get left behind. You don't want to be one of those guys.
Yeah, people like to use that analogy about the Blockbuster, like had the chance to buy Netflix, couldn't see the potential with Netflix, and then their business went out of business. So we don't want that for you. We want to have you get up to speed. We're going to keep it super simple and just kind of give you the lay of the land at the moment. Sound good?
Yeah. So let's kick us off with something that hopefully everyone has heard of, which is ChatGPT. That is absolutely massive, and it's everywhere at the moment.
Yes. So ChatGPT is kind of like the main tool currently, where you can get a paid subscription to it, and it brings you up to the ChatGPT 4. And this is where I've started using this kind of probably in the last 6 months. And the key with using ChatGPT is to just practice. Have a real conversation as if you were talking to a person. Get them to your AI to explain something that you don't understand. Ask it like, how could I use you? I am this kind of business owner. What ideas have you got about how I could use you? How do I use you? What would be how do I create a good prompt? Like what things do I need to tell you? So asking it to give you some feedback and give you the answers and the ideas is a great place to start, because it does have the answers for you.
Yeah.
We don't have to know everything yet.
Even just starting to use it like maybe you would use Google.
Yes.
Because, it's got a lot of the same information. And so that could be a fairly simple switch if you're hesitant in using it. Like just use it exactly how you would use Google to begin.
Yeah. Something I've learned about ChatGPT is that it needs a lot of context to give you a really good answer. So, for example, in the last couple of days, I've been using it to take a blog post, create a blog post from a podcast episode that I do on my other podcast. So we give it the transcript and then give it a bunch of context and training first and say, can you now please create a blog post? So we have to give it things like how many words we want, what kind of writing style we want it to be, I also tell it to just use the kind of advice that we give on the podcast episode. Use that content only and don't go and search the rest of the internet to try and like get more advice. Just use what we've given it. That works really well because then it's actually like what we think and our advice and what we would write. And giving it that training of this is the structure that we like. This is a previous blog post that we have written ourselves. Can you please mimic is a really good word. Mimic this structure, style, writing style, layout, etc. So feeding it some information or some things to copy is really good. And then often I will ask it things like, please ask me any questions that you would need to know so that you can do this to your best of your ability. And I learned this from Jess Clark. She is an amazing AI strategist if you want to go and follow her on Instagram. She teaches about actually ask it and say, is there anything else that you would need to know? Or what else do you need to know? Or what questions have you got for me? So that you can do this to your best of your ability. Really great prompt.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And even talking about all of this and you feeding it some of that information, Jo, I think a lot of people default to thinking, oh, that's too much effort. But if you think about it as well, if you were having a team member do that for you, you wouldn't just throw them into a task, I hope, with no context at all. Like they're not just going to be able to pull a blog post out of nowhere with absolutely no understanding of your brand or your tone of voice or anything like that. So think of ChatGPT in the same way. It needs that little bit of background information or some references or something as a starting point.
Yeah, that's great. Think about it as a team member. Yeah, it needs the same information.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you can even name it, right?
You can. I have named my AI Felix. And when you get the paid version, you can also use the app for ChatGPT. And in that app, you get to choose the voice. You can choose whether it's male or female, choose the different voice, and then you can just say, hey, I would like to call you Felix. That's your name now. That's how I'm going to refer to you. And then I just say, hey, Felix, and talk to it. So the thing I love about the app is that I can actually talk and it will talk back. So we have a conversation, which I find is much faster to kind of convey what I want. And then it will write our conversation out after I close the conversation part, the chat, the voice part.
Yeah, that's really great. And at the moment as well with ChatGPT 4, we have the GPTs within ChatGPT. Are you using some at the moment?
Yes. So there are GPTs. Think about it kind of like an app store where inside your ChatGPT, you're going in and in the custom GPTs, in there are pre-trained AIs. So they're a ChatGPT in themselves, but they are pre-trained with a specialty. So the ones that I use, one is called SEO Fox, and that has been trained to write SEO optimized articles, blog posts. So in there, it knows the questions to ask and it knows the structure of a blog post, and it's really helpful. And it's the best result that I've ever had getting it to write a blog post. But yeah, I think it's important to note that if you were just going to ask it to write a blog post on something and then blindly copy and paste it into your website, that is not a good use of ChatGPT. Give it all of your notes or ideas or thoughts about that blog post, or give it the transcript from a long video that you've created. Give it the information in a really kind of like unstructured way, and it will give you something much better in a very structured way. Yeah. So those GPTs, think of them like apps in the App Store, pre-trained specialist AIs in like anything that you could imagine is in there.
Yep, there's a tech support one that we have in our Strictly Savvy ChatGPT account, and all the tech tools and questions, like we usually have those in our internal chat tool. Those will now be directed to our IT support person in ChatGPT.
Yes, yeah. There are video GPTs in there. Maybe not video yet. Maybe it's just the graphic GPTs in there. And those who are trained on Facebook ads or trained on specific types of copywriting. Yeah, lots of different GPTs in there.
Mm-hmm. And a couple of other tools that are really big at the moment, or big names, are Gemini and Copilot. So Gemini is Google, correct me if I'm wrong, and Copilot is Microsoft.
Yeah.
So the other two big players at the moment.
Yeah, so those are kind of able to be used inside your Google Workspace or inside your 365. And so instead of having to go into ChatGPT, maybe you're like want it to help you respond to an email, and you're copying and pasting the email into ChatGPT and then copying and pasting the answer out. The Copilot and the Gemini kind of take that step away, where it's actually inbuilt inside your email accounts in your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. It's actually inside there, so it can help you do it kind of real time inside that tool. So I think those are going to be really great for kind of larger workplaces. I think we'll probably use those where there's a lot of kind of able to be collaboratively worked on things together using those tools. But yeah, if you like, maybe do a trial of the Copilot or the Gemini, whichever one you used, Google or Microsoft, and see how you like it. See how it helps you with responding to emails and triaging your emails and, managing your inbox. I think could be a good place to start with those.
Yeah, because they are all starting to compete to be the tool that solves all of your problems. And so there are these specific AI ones, but then we're also seeing all of the existing tools coming out with inbuilt AI as well.
Yeah, these are really interesting. So if anyone is using any online tools, so Zapier, ManyChat, I'm sure that Harvest, our time tracking tool, is going to come out with something soon. All of these online tools that you use, all are going to have a little AI inbuilt in there that's going to help you with some things. I suspect that Harvest, our time tracking tool, will come out with one that will help you with like reporting or giving you information for your timesheets and your team and productivity and that kind of stuff. So that's exciting. I think we're at the risk of getting very overwhelmed with all of these different tools, because if you had ChatGPT Pro version and then you got Copilot and then, you upgraded some of your other tools, because to get the AI, you need to upgrade. It is going to be very real subscription creep.
Yeah.
So the reason why we're doing all of the testing and figuring this all out is because we want our clients to not waste money on subscription creep unnecessarily. And we want to make sure that we know the best tools so that we can say to our clients, okay, this is the tool that we think is the best and is going to give you the best return on your investment for whatever it's going to be to get that subscription or upgrade your subscription. So that's what we're doing at the moment, is trying to avoid subscription creep, but trialing and testing things out, because that is going to be a very real problem that people will have. And remember too, that if you are going to pay for something, you need to have a return on it. So if it's going to save you a whole bunch of time that you can then convert into billable time with your clients, then that makes sense. But just willy-nilly kind of adding on all of these subscriptions and using all of these different tools, but then like kind of not using them enough to get a return, that's where you're just going to start adding expenses to your bottom line.
Yeah. And while things are exploding, there are going to be so many new tools and apps in the AI space coming out every couple of seconds, really.
Yeah.
You even have a prediction about Zero. You shared a LinkedIn post about it as well.
Yeah, I think that Zero is currently working in the background right now, creating a fully trained AI that will be kind of overlaid in your Zero account, and it'll know everything about kind of company and accounts, GST legislation, etc. And they'll be making one for each country that they're in. And this will actually be doing the reconciling and helping with invoicing, etc. And I think it could be a real disruptor to the bookkeeping industry. So they haven't announced anything, but they would be silly not to be working on that. So I feel like it's inevitable. Maybe they're going to do it slowly so that it's not like a big disruptor all at once, but that would be very interesting to keep an eye on.
Yeah. And we actually went to an AI seminar last week, I think it was. And one of the things that they mentioned was Apple have been working on like a car, I guess, to rival Tesla kind of thing. And they actually pulled the entire team off and switched them onto focusing on AI. So that just kind of indicates how many businesses, how big it's going to be. Everyone is focusing on this at the moment.
Yeah, what's going to happen with our smartphones is that you're not going to have apps on your smartphone like we do now, and you're actually just going to talk to your AI, and your phone is going to be your AI, and it is going to be able to do actions for you. So currently, we have large language model, which is what ChatGPT 4 is right now, where you're putting in information that's giving you language back or graphics. But next, what's coming is LAM, which is large action models. And so this is where your phone tools that you use are actually going to be able to go and do actions for you, like actually go and make a booking or schedule something or pay for something or buy something, like go and do something. So that is going to be massive. And we're watching this very closely because this presents an opportunity for businesses like you listening, and for us as well, where you can actually start to create digital teams. Not just like using one AI like on your phone or computer, but actually having a digital team. So remember we talked about those GPTs, which are specialist trained AIs in something? Well, imagine if you had an entire team on your computer, all individual AIs that were specifically trained on a certain type of task, had a specialty, and you could create a workflow that said, first, whenever we drop in a new long form content video, then each of the specialists is going to take an action that might be creating a LinkedIn post, creating a graphic, creating a blog post, creating a Twitter, do you call them tweets still? Thread, an X thread. So each person, each digital person, digital AI has a task that they complete.
And there are even project managers as well in these AI teams that are managing all of these different individual AI team members and overseeing the whole project.
Yes. And they're not just creating the LinkedIn post, but actually going and scheduling it and actually posting it. So not just writing, but posting it, which is where the large action model comes in. So that's something that's very, very close to being here.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, Jo, it's going to be a disruptor. And when we start talking about it actually performing actions, I think a lot of people will have that little bit of panic, which is why we're encouraging people not to bury their head in the sand and actually get on board, learn how you can use it in your business and it can actually help you rather than letting it overtake you.
Yeah. Something I see that every business is, especially the larger ones, they're going to have a whole department on AI.
Yeah.
And they're going to have prompt engineers, which they're saying is a new role that's coming out. And they're going to have AI specialists that are looking at ways to implement AI and then running and managing and reviewing the work and making sure that the AIs are doing a good job and training them. Like, that's going to be a whole department. So watch this space. This is something that Strictly Savvy is looking at the moment, is like, how do we bridge the gap between AI and a business, and how do we set up, review, implement AI for small businesses?
Yeah, because it's a very similar concept, I guess, to delegating to a virtual assistant now is implementing AI in business. Like, you're still delegating those tasks in some kind of way. So we really need to get on board with this, because otherwise, we will get replaced. But we want to work alongside businesses. And there are so many exciting opportunities for actually the implementation of this within businesses at the moment. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to keep coming out with some more information as we get really clear on the best tools, strategies for businesses to really embrace this AI revolution.
Yes. But the seed that we want to plant with you is the first place to start is getting that paid version of ChatGPT and actually just start using it. Get familiar, get the phone app like Jo was talking about, try out some of those custom GPTs and just start. That's all you need to do at this point in time. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Get Savvy podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.